Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Cosmic Blueprints Astrology. If you're new here, I'm Sino, and this is where we decode the cosmic patterns shaping your life journey. Today, we're diving into one of the most significant astrological events of November 2025, Jupiter stationing retrograde in the nurturing sign of Cancer on November 11th. And let me tell you, this transit is going to be deeply personal and emotionally transformative for all of us. But before we get into how this affects your sign specifically, let me break down what this transit actually means. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, wisdom, and growth, is going retrograde at 25 degrees of Cancer. Now, when Jupiter goes retrograde, it's not a negative thing. It's actually an invitation to turn inward. While Jupiter direct expands outward into the world, Jupiter retrograde asks us to expand inward into ourselves. And in Cancer is all about home, family, emotional security, nurturing, and our deepest feelings. Jupiter in Cancer magnifies our need for emotional connection, but when it goes retrograde, we're being asked to reevaluate where we find true emotional fulfillment and security. This retrograde will last until March 2026, giving us several months to reflect on our emotional foundations, our family dynamics, and what truly makes us feel at home in this world. So stick around because I'm going to go through each sign and tell you exactly how this Jupiter retrograde in Cancer will affect your life. And if you find value in this reading, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more cosmic guidance. So let's get into it. Hey Aries, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your fourth house of home, family, and emotional foundations. This is a deeply personal period for you, dear Ram, and it's asking you to slow down and turn your attention to your inner world and your domestic life. You're typically action-oriented and forward-focused, but this retrograde is inviting you to pause and reflect on your roots. Where do you come from? What ancestral patterns are you carrying? Is your current living situation truly supporting your highest good? These are questions arising for you now. This is an excellent time to do inner child work, to heal family wounds, and to create a sanctuary in your home that truly feels like a safe haven. You might find yourself wanting to redecorate, renovate, or even relocate, but the retrograde suggests taking your time with these decisions. Use this period to get clear on what home truly means to you, not just physically, but emotionally. You may also be reassessing your relationship with a parent or parental figure, or examining how your childhood experiences have shaped your current emotional patterns. Jupiter's retrograde motion gives you the gift of hindsight and wisdom. Trust that any emotional growing pains during this time are leading you toward a more authentic sense of security. The key for you, Aries, is to resist the urge to charge forward and instead allow yourself to go deep. Your emotional foundation is being strengthened, even if it feels uncomfortable at times. Hey Taurus. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is lighting up your third house of communication, learning, and your immediate environment. This retrograde is asking you to revisit how you express yourself, how you think, and how you connect with the people in your day-to-day life. You might find yourself reflecting on sibling relationships or reconnecting with people from your past, perhaps old neighbors, classmates, or cousins. There's something to be learned or healed in these connections, and Jupiter retrograde is creating the space for that growth. This is also a powerful time to revisit a learning project or course of study. Maybe you started learning something earlier this year that you didn't finish, or perhaps there's some knowledge you've gained in the past that's suddenly relevant again. Jupiter retrograde loves to take us back to complete what was left undone, and in Cancer, this has an emotional or intuitive quality to it. Pay attention to your intuition during this period, Taurus. Your mind is being asked to integrate more emotional intelligence and to communicate from a place of vulnerability and authenticity. You're typically very grounded and practical in how you think and speak, but this retrograde is opening you up to expressing your feelings more openly. accordingly. You might also be reassessing your relationship with your local community or neighborhood. Does where you live feel emotionally supportive? Do you feel connected to the people around you? These are important questions now. Writing, journaling, or any form of creative expression can be especially healing during this retrograde. Give yourself permission to process your thoughts and feelings through words. Your voice matters, Taurus, and Jupiter retrograde wants you to reclaim the power of your authentic expression. Hey Gemini. Gemini, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your second house of money, values, and self-worth. This is a significant period for reassessing your relationship with abundance and security, both material and emotional. You're being asked to look at where you find your sense of value. Is it tied to external validation, or are you cultivating an internal sense of worthiness? Jupiter retrograde in this emotional water sign is inviting you to understand that true abundance comes from feeling emotionally secure and aligned with your values. Financially, this might be a time of review rather than expansion. You could be looking back at purchases you've made, investments you've chosen, or income streams you've developed and asking yourself, does this truly align with what I value? Cancer energy is all about security and nourishment, so Jupiter retrograde here wants you to ensure that your resources are being used to nurture yourself and your loved ones in meaningful ways. You might also be evaluating your talents and gifts. What do you have to offer the world? And more importantly, are you valuing your own abilities appropriately? This retrograde can bring up issues around charging what you're worth, asking for raises, or recognizing the true value of your contributions. There's also an emotional component to this retrograde for you, Gemini. You're learning that emotional security is a form of wealth. Feeling safe, supported, and nurtured is priceless, and Jupiter retrograde is helping you understand what truly makes you feel abundant at a soul level. This is a wonderful time to practice gratitude for what you already have and to develop a more emotionally intelligent relationship with money. Abundance is not just about accumulation, it's about appreciation and alignment. Hey Cancer. Cancer, this is your retrograde. Jupiter retrograde in your sign is a deeply personal journey of self-discovery and inner expansion. This is one of the most significant transits you'll experience in 2025, and it's all about coming home to yourself. When Jupiter stations retrograde in your first house, the house of self, identity, and personal expression, you're being asked to turn inward and reflect on who you're becoming. Jupiter entered Cancer earlier in 2025, bringing opportunities for growth, expansion, and new beginnings. But now with the retrograde, it's time to integrate all of that growth and make sure you're expanding in alignment with your authentic self. You might feel like you're in a cocoon during this period, less interested in being out in the world and more focused on inner work, self-care, and emotional healing. And that's exactly what you need, Cancer. This retrograde is asking you to shed old identities, release who you thought you should be, and embrace who you truly are at your core. There may be a tendency to become more introspective, private, or even withdrawn during this time. Honor that impulse. You don't need to be everything to everyone right now. This is your time to focus on yourself, to nurture your own needs, and to expand your understanding of your own potential. You might also be revisiting beliefs about yourself, old stories or narratives that you've carried for years. Jupiter retrograde gives you the wisdom to see these stories with fresh eyes and to rewrite them if they no longer serve you. You're being liberated from limiting beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of. Physically, you might want to make changes to your appearance or how you present yourself to the world, but the retrograde suggests sitting with these desires before acting on them. The external changes will come naturally once the internal transformation is complete. This is a sacred time for you, Cancer. Trust the journey inward. You're not retreating, you're gathering strength, wisdom, and clarity. And when Jupiter stations direct in March 2026, you'll emerge with a renewed sense of self and purpose that will carry you forward powerfully. Hey, Leo. Leo, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your 12th house, the realm of the unconscious, spirituality, dreams, and the hidden parts of yourself. This is a deeply mystical and transformative period for you, inviting you to explore the inner landscape of your soul. The 12th house is often called the house of the hidden, and with Jupiter retrograde here, you're being asked to go beneath the surface and uncover what's been buried in your subconscious. This might bring up old emotions, unprocessed grief, or patterns that you've been unconsciously repeating. While this can feel challenging, Jupiter's presence here is ultimately healing and expansive. It's helping you release what no longer serves you. This is an excellent time for therapy, dream work, meditation, or any spiritual practice that helps you connect with your inner world. You might find that your intuition is heightened during this retrograde and you're receiving guidance through dreams, synchronicities, or subtle inner knowing. Pay attention to these messages, they're important. You might also be called to spend more time alone or in retreat during this period. Your energy is turned inward and you need solitude to process and integrate. This isn't about isolation, it's about sacred alone time that allows you to heal and reconnect with your spiritual essence. Jupiter retrograde in your 12th house can also bring closure to a chapter of your life. You might be releasing old wounds, completing karmic cycles, or letting go of situations and relationships that have run their course. This is preparation for a new beginning. When Jupiter eventually moves into your first house, you'll be ready to step into a new version of yourself. For now, Leo, embrace the mystery. Trust the process of inner transformation even when you can't see the full picture. You're shedding old skins and making space for something more aligned with your soul's truth. Hi, Virgo. Virgo, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your 11th house of friendships, community, and future visions. This retrograde is asking you to reassess your social connections and your relationship with the collective. You might find yourself reflecting on your friendships, who truly supports you, who drains you, and who aligns with your values and vision for the future. Jupiter retrograde has a way of revealing the truth about our connections, and in the emotional sign of Cancer, you're being asked to prioritize relationships that feel emotionally nourishing and authentic. This could be a time when you naturally pull back from certain social groups or organizations that no longer resonate with you. Or you might reconnect with old friends and find that these relationships still have something valuable to offer. Either way, you're curating your inner circle more consciously during this period. The 11th house is also about your hopes, dreams, and vision for the future. Jupiter retrograde here is inviting you to revisit your goals and aspirations. What do you truly want to create in your life? And more importantly, do your current friendships and community support that vision? You might find that your dreams are shifting or that you're getting clearer on what you actually want versus what you thought you should want. There's also a component of reassessing how you contribute to the collective. What role do you play in your community? How do you want to make a difference in the world? Jupiter retrograde in Cancer suggests that your contribution should come from a place of emotional authenticity and genuine care, not from obligation or external pressure. This is a wonderful time to join or rejoin a group that feels like chosen family, a spiritual community, a support group, or a circle of like-minded souls. Cancer energy is all about belonging and emotional connection, and Jupiter retrograde wants you to find your tribe. Trust that any shifts in your social life during this period are making space for connections that truly nourish your soul and support your highest path. Hi, Libra. Libra, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your 10th house of career, public image, and life direction. This is a significant period for reassessing your professional path and your relationship with success. You're being asked to reflect on whether your current career truly aligns with your emotional needs and your authentic self. Cancer energy is about nurturing and caring, and Jupiter retrograde here wants to know, does your work nourish your soul? Do you feel emotionally fulfilled by what you're doing, or are you pursuing success for the wrong reasons? This retrograde might bring up questions about work-life balance, especially if you've been sacrificing your personal life and emotional well-being for professional achievements. Jupiter in Cancer wants you to find a career path that honors both your ambitions and your need for emotional security and family time. You might also be reconsidering your public image or reputation. How do you want to be known in the world? What legacy do you want to create? Jupiter retrograde gives you the opportunity to get clear on these questions and make sure that how you're showing up publicly is aligned with who you truly are. For some Libras, this retrograde might bring a career change or a shift in professional direction. But the retrograde period itself is more about reflection and planning than action. Use this time to explore your options, to clarify your goals, and to understand what success truly means to you. Not based on external standards, but based on your own values and emotional truth. There could also be unfinished business with authority figures, bosses, or parental figures that surfaces during this time. Jupiter retrograde wants you to heal these dynamics and to step into your own authority with greater confidence and emotional maturity. This is ultimately about aligning your career with your heart, Libra. When you do what you love and what feels emotionally authentic, success flows more naturally. Trust that this period of reflection is guiding you toward a professional path that truly honors who you are. Hi, Scorpio. Scorpio, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your 9th house of higher learning, philosophy, travel, and expansion of consciousness. This is a deeply reflective period for you, inviting you to revisit your beliefs, your spiritual path, and your understanding of the bigger picture. You might find yourself questioning beliefs you've held for years, so religious, philosophical, or cultural beliefs that you inherited or adopted without fully examining them. Jupiter retrograde wants you to find your own truth, and in the emotional sign of Cancer, this truth must resonate at a feeling level, not just an intellectual one. This is an excellent time to return to a course of study, a spiritual practice, or a teaching that you explored in the past but didn't complete. There's wisdom there waiting for you to rediscover it. You might also find yourself drawn to teachers, mentors, or guides from your past, people who helped shape your worldview and who might still have something to offer you now. Travel plans might also be delayed, postponed, or revised during this retrograde. If you've been planning a big trip, use this time to make sure it truly aligns with what you need emotionally. Or you might be called to revisit a place that holds emotional significance for you. So a childhood vacation spot, a place where you studied, or a location connected to your heritage. The 9th house is also about publishing, teaching, and sharing your knowledge. If you've been working on a book, course, or any form of teaching, Jupiter retrograde is giving you time to refine your message and make sure it comes from an authentic, emotionally resonant place. Cancer energy in the 9th house also connects you more deeply with your ancestral wisdom and cultural roots. This is a beautiful time to explore your family history, to learn about the traditions and beliefs of your ancestors, and to understand how their journey has shaped your own. Ultimately, Scorpio, this retrograde is about finding faith that feels true to your soul, not faith that's imposed from outside, but faith that arises from your own inner knowing and emotional experience. Trust your intuition as your guide during this period. Hi, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Jupiter is your ruling planet, so this retrograde in Cancer is especially significant for you. It's activating your 8th house of transformation, intimacy, shared resources, and deep psychological work. This is one of the most profound periods of your year. The 8th house is the realm of what's hidden beneath the surface, so your shadow, your deepest fears, your vulnerabilities, and your power. With Jupiter retrograde here, you're being invited to go deeper into your inner world and to confront whatever you've been avoiding or suppressing. This might bring up issues around trust and intimacy. Are you allowing yourself to be truly vulnerable with others, or are you keeping parts of yourself hidden because you're afraid of being hurt or rejected? Jupiter retrograde in Cancer wants you to understand that true intimacy requires emotional authenticity and the courage to be seen fully. You might also be reassessing financial partnerships or shared resources, so joint bank accounts, investments, inheritances, or money you share with a partner or business associate. Jupiter retrograde asks you to make sure these arrangements feel fair and emotionally secure. Are you giving or receiving more than you should? Is there an imbalance that needs to be addressed? This is also a powerful time for psychological healing and transformation. You might be drawn to therapy, shadow work, or any practice that helps you understand your unconscious patterns and heal old wounds. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is especially focused on healing emotional and family trauma that you've been carrying, perhaps for generations. Death, rebirth, and transformation are themes of the 8th house, and Jupiter retrograde here might bring endings that ultimately lead to new beginnings. This could be an end of a relationship, a job, a belief system, or an old version of yourself. While endings can be painful, Jupiter's presence here suggests that what's leaving is making space for something more aligned with your growth. There's also a spiritual component to this retrograde for you, Sag. The 8th house is about the mysteries of life and death, and you might find yourself contemplating deeper existential questions. This is a time to trust in the cycles of life and to understand that transformation, though challenging, is how we evolve. Embrace the depth of this period. You're not meant to stay on the surface right now. The treasures you're seeking, emotional healing, authentic power, true intimacy, are found in the depths. Trust the process and know that Jupiter is expanding your capacity to transform and heal. Hi Capricorn. Capricorn, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your 7th house of partnerships, marriage, and one-on-one relationships. This is a significant period for reassessing your closest relationships and understanding what you truly need from partnerships. You're being asked to reflect on balance and reciprocity in your relationships. Are you giving more than you're receiving? Are you allowing yourself to be supported and nurtured by others? Or are you always in the role of provider and the responsible one? Jupiter retrograde in Cancer wants you to understand that healthy partnerships involve mutual care and emotional support. For those in committed relationships, this retrograde might bring up conversations about emotional needs, family planning, or living situations. You and your partner might be reassessing what you want your shared life to look like. Or you might be working through emotional patterns that have been affecting your connection. For single Capricorns, this is a time to get clear on what you're actually looking for in a partner. Not what you think you should want, but what your heart truly needs. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is helping you understand that the right partnership will feel like emotional home, safe, nurturing, and supportive. You might also be revisiting past relationships during this period, not necessarily to rekindle them, but to understand the lessons they taught you and to heal any wounds that are still affecting your current ability to connect with others. Business partnerships are also under review during this retrograde. If you work closely with a business partner or collaborator, this is a time to make sure the partnership feels balanced and emotionally satisfying. Are you aligned in your vision? Do you trust each other? Are you communicating openly about your needs and concerns? The 7th house is also about how we see ourselves reflected in others. Jupiter retrograde here is helping you understand the parts of yourself that you've been projecting projecting onto partners, both the positive qualities you don't own and the negative qualities you don't want to acknowledge. This is deep work, Capricorn, but it's leading you toward more authentic and fulfilling connections. Hi, Aquarius. Aquarius, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your 6th house of daily routines, health, work, and service. This retrograde is asking you to reassess how you take care of yourself and how you show up in your day-to-day life. You might find yourself reflecting on your health, both physical and emotional. Have you been neglecting self-care? Are your daily habits supporting your well-being, or are they depleting you? Jupiter retrograde in Cancer wants you to create routines that truly nourish you, not just routines that check boxes or meet external expectations. This is an excellent time to revisit your diet, exercise routine, or any health practices. You might return to a wellness approach that worked for you in the past, or you might discover that your needs have changed and it's time to try something new. Cancer energy in your 6th house especially emphasizes the connection between emotional well-being and physical health. They're not separate. Your work environment and daily work routine are also under review. Do you feel emotionally supported in your job? Is your work-life balance healthy? Are you in a work environment that feels like a second home, or does it drain your energy? Jupiter retrograde is helping you understand what you need to feel fulfilled in your daily work. The 6th house is also about service, how you contribute and help others. You might be reassessing how you want to be of service in the world. Is your current work meaningful to you? Does it align with your values? Jupiter retrograde wants you to find work that feels purposeful and that allows you to make a difference in a way that resonates with your heart. There's also a theme of establishing better boundaries during this retrograde. Cancer energy can sometimes lead to overgiving or taking on too much emotional responsibility for others. Jupiter retrograde is teaching you that saying no and protecting your energy is an essential form of self-care. This is ultimately about creating a daily life that supports your overall well-being, Aquarius. Your routines, your work, your health practices, all of these should feel emotionally nourishing and aligned with your authentic needs. Use this retrograde period to make the adjustments that will support your long-term health and happiness. Hi, Pisces. Pisces, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is activating your 5th house of creativity, romance, play, and self-expression. This is a beautiful and heart-centered retrograde for you, inviting you to connect with your inner joy and your creative spirit. You're being asked to reflect on what truly brings you pleasure and happiness. Have you been making enough time for play, creativity, and self-expression? Or have you been so focused on responsibilities and other people's needs that you've forgotten what lights you up? Jupiter retrograde wants you to reclaim your right to joy. This is an excellent time to revisit creative projects that you started but didn't finish. Maybe that's a piece of art, a story, a song, or a creative endeavor that's been sitting on the shelf waiting for you to return to it. Jupiter retrograde is giving you the inspiration and motivation to complete what you started or to approach it with fresh eyes and renewed passion. For those in romantic relationships, this retrograde might bring a period of reassessment. Are you feeling emotionally fulfilled in your relationship? Is there enough playfulness, affection, and emotional connection? Jupiter retrograde in Cancer wants romance to feel nurturing and genuine, not performative or based on external expectations. Single Pisces might be reflecting on past relationships and understanding patterns in your romantic life. What have you been seeking in partners? And more importantly, what do you truly need to feel loved and cherished? This retrograde is helping you get clear on your authentic romantic needs so that when the right person comes along, you'll recognize them. The 5th house is also about children and your relationship with your inner child. This is a powerful time for inner child healing, reconnecting with the playful, innocent, creative part of yourself that might have been wounded or suppressed. Give yourself permission to play, to create just for the joy of it, and to express yourself without worrying about judgment or perfection. Ultimately, Pisces, this retrograde is reminding you that life is meant to be enjoyed. Your sensitivity and empathy are gifts, but they shouldn't come at the cost of your own happiness. Reconnect with what brings you joy and let that guide you forward. Alright, beautiful souls, that's Jupiter retrograde in Cancer for all 12 signs. Remember, this retrograde lasts until March 2026, so you have several months to work with this energy. This isn't a quick transit, it's a deep, transformative journey that's asking you to turn inward and expand your emotional wisdom. The key themes for everyone during this retrograde are emotional healing, reassessing what truly makes you feel secure and nourished, healing family wounds, connecting with your intuition, and creating a stronger emotional foundation for your life. Remember to watch for your sun, moon, and rising signs to get the complete picture of how this retrograde is affecting you personally. And be gentle with yourself during this time. Retrograde periods can feel challenging because they ask us to slow down and reflect rather than charge forward. But the growth that comes from this inner work is profound and lasting. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. How are you experiencing Jupiter retrograde in Cancer? What's coming up for you? What are you healing and releasing? Your shares help create community and remind us that we're all on this journey together. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Cosmic Blueprints Astrology for more astrological insights and guidance. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you so much for being here and for doing this inner work. The world needs your light, and by healing yourself, you're contributing to the healing of the collective. But until next time, much love and many blessings, beautiful souls.